What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back for the My Team Journey, episode number 20 for the Brazilian Grand Prix. This is our last chance, our last throw of the dice to keep the championship alive. Charles Leclerc is leading by a long way. Thankfully, we have a sprint race weekend to make up some extra points to keep us alive in the drivers' standings. We do have the asterisks to fall back on after we got shafted out of our race-winning position in Hungary. The race got red flagged. The glitch pushed us back to P7. I don't want to pull up the asterisks, but we might have to keep this thing alive. Either way, let's get rolling with this new episode. Look at that livery, by the way. That livery is so good. I wish I ran that livery for this season. Who knows? Maybe in Season 2. We'll have to wait and see. But it's back to the normal livery today. After the special livery we ran in Mexico. Feel free to go check out that episode. It was a pretty good race and instrumental in keeping our championship alive. I will say no more than that. But it's time. The Sao Paulo Grand Prix. We have a sprint race and a Grand Prix to get through. A lot of points on offer. Let's hope that we are in the mix and actually competitive. Anyway, we got some power unit upgrades courtesy of Ferrari, which will push us up a little bit higher in the performance index. That is where things stand currently at this stage. Unfortunately, I was a bit of a noob and I didn't actually grab a screenshot of where the car performance was at Brazil on the Brazilian race weekend, but that's a general idea of kind of where we stand. We're all very, very closely matched on pace, and really at this point in the season, no one's going to be upgrading their car because we're all starting to focus on next season. Hell, I think even after today's episode, no matter what, we do need to focus on next year's car. Let's go to quali. Here we are then, qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Devin Butler gets out nice and early to get some running in. This is full qualifying, even though it is on a Friday morning and we still have a sprint to get through. Q3, as always, is the aim. Hopefully my teammate can back up, I don't know, the car's performance and get himself into Q2. We'll have to wait and see on that front. But so far, we're going to try and minimize the amount of tires that we use, kind of like Creator Series. I always like to minimize the tires that we kind of not waste, but use in qualifying to get through, to save those for the race, just in case of a safety car or in case a two-stop is quicker. You never quite know when you get to a race circuit which tire compound is going to be the best. Sometimes it's mediums, sometimes it's softs. It just depends on a number of different factors. It really is trial and error. But Q1 is done. We got P9. Unfortunately, Devin missed out by half a tenth. Knocked out in Q1 by half a tenth. We do need to make this car better. We do need to invest in the facilities. Cash flow isn't great at the moment. We also need to save for our teammate for next season. I believe the glitch is still in the game where you need to basically sign your second driver before the last race in Abu Dhabi. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, clearly some issues going on at Codemasters with the amount of glitches that have been present in the game for many years, but also the ones that have popped up this year. Anyway, it is a very good performance in Q2. A 1 minute 6.7 sees us only 2/10 shy of provisional pole position. Charles Leclerc is our championship rival, the man who we need to stop this race weekend. He basically needs a DNF, and we're going to have to hope for that to keep our hopes alive, as well as winning many races for the foreseeable future. Q3 was a bit of a non-show for us. We went 2/10 slower in Q3 than what we did in Q2, and everyone improved by a shed load. So that's enormously great Q2 position. Was kind of overshadowed by a lackluster Q3. So it's P9 to start this sprint race. There might be some grid penalties to start, given that it is nearing the end of the season and Season 1 as well, where reliability isn't the best. People's durability upgrades haven't really come to fruition all too much yet. So I imagine there might be some spiciness for some of the AI teams to come in the race. And also, we've taken more engine penalties than I think anyone else earlier on in the season, so we're absolutely cruising for the back end of this season. Let's pray that Charles Leclerc is starting further back. Of course, those grid penalties don't apply until we get to the main Grand Prix, so everyone is free to start where they want for the sprint and get some early points in that way. But in terms of upgrades, we could rush that in for Abu Dhabi, but what are the chances of us actually winning the championship? It's pretty slim. Let's probably save the points for now, see how the sprint and the Grand Prix goes, and we'll go from there.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint.
I think most likely we are going to start focusing on next year's car now and making sure that we can hit the ground running as a top 4 team right from word go. That probably is the more realistic approach. But never say never. We're not going to give up. We're going to keep pushing, as always, to try and get the maximum out of every race weekend that we can. And I'm really hoping that we can pull off a maiden championship win in Season 1 of a career mode. That would be incredible. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the sprint race here in Brazil. This is the practice for the main event, and it's a great start heading into turn 1. Getting a couple of places. We can see the McLaren of Bottas diving into turn 1, getting that place back. We muscle him out and go round the outside of Lando Norris briefly through the exit of the Center S's, and with that better drive traction and ERS deployment, you can see how OP the AI are in a straight line. That is absolutely nuts. As Norris retakes P5. Bottas nearly dive bombs us for P6 again, but we managed to fend him off and hold on to this place. But yeah, it's seeming like, or at least when I was recording this at the time, I do recall, albeit like a month ago now, that the AI have, in a way, found their speed again. And by finding that speed, they are absolutely OP on corner exit with their battery deployments. They are an absolute rocket ship again, but no amount of rocket ship can prepare you for the dive bombs that come your way from Benjamin Daly. Thank you very much. That is now a top 5. Lando Norris displaced to P6, but I imagine we haven't seen the last of him or many others this race weekend. The AI look like they're pretty quick in a straight line, and we're potentially carrying a little bit too much aero, so overtaking, defending might prove to be a bit tricky, especially as we get on in this sprint race where you can see our battery is draining. We're down to 15%. We're going to be lacking a bit of power once we get into the sub 10% region. But the AI, I imagine, have a lot more battery than I do, and they're able to recharge a lot better. That's the I guess the con that comes with high downforce. Yes, you're quicker in the corners, but you're actually slower on the straights, and you spend more time on the straights, so you're actually deploying for longer. And this is a strat that, you know, a lot of esports drivers and league racers, you know, include in their strategy, is they run lower downforce. That has typically been the meta in the past, but it's been less so the meta on F1 23, I'd say, is it allows you to recharge your battery and you deploy a little bit less with low wings. But I actually think higher wings is a little bit quicker or more of the meta on this game, but that's just my humble opinion. I could very well be wrong. I'm not too sure on that. But into P3 we go on George Russell. Nice little overtake there into turn 1. Like I said, we are lacking in a straight line, and we are now below 10%, so we get even less power from the battery and having to go defensive into turn 4. We managed to fight that position off for now, but it might only be a matter of when, not if, he re-overtakes us. But we'll try and keep our eyes forwards, try and overtake Hamilton if we can. Unfortunately, there's a bit of an air gap to Charles Leclerc, our championship rival, in P1 at this stage. We can ill afford to lose points to him in this sprint race. Even if we get P2 or P3, that's not to say that the championship will be over, but it certainly makes the job that much more difficult if we lose points today. But nice little re-overtaking dive bomb into turn 1 on George Russell again. Imperative that we stay with these guys, stay with Hamilton, and try and recharge as much battery as possible. But Leclerc's 3 seconds up the road now, and even if I overtake Hamilton here, there's no chance that I'm going to catch up to Charles Leclerc with my battery levels. So we're fighting a losing battle here. We just have to consolidate position we're in right now and just try and get P2 in this race. So let's see if we can go about doing just that. Burning all the battery on the run into turn 4. Not quite close enough to get the dive bomb on Lewis Hamilton that we want. But if we can stay close, burn a bit of battery running up this hill, heading into the double right-hander, we might be able to dive up the inside into the infield of this Interlagos circuit. A bit of a back-end loss, which is not what we wanted. And that prevented the dive bomb from occurring on that particular occasion around the outside on Hamilton. And now this surely has to be the move. Up the inside, into the hairpin. And we now take P2 in this sprint. 7 points against our name as we see the replay from above. And you can see the battery flashing at the back of our car. It is not in a great state right now. We're using absolutely everything to try and get this position on Lewis Hamilton. And it looks like at the last grasp, we've managed to pull that off. But we're not home and dry yet. We still need to get up to the line, and the AI have incredible straight line speed, and they'll be deploying all of their battery on the run up to the line. Up to overtake. We're going to hug the inside for the shortest run to the line. But here comes Hamilton round the outside. He steals P2 at the death.
Yes, yes, come on, we're on the podium. Good job this weekend. That's a great drive. Thank you.
No, I can't believe it. Unlike many years ago, where Hamilton failed to retake P2 off of Pierre Gasly, he takes it off of us today like candy from a baby. And he takes 7 points in this sprint. We get relegated to 6 points and lose out on 2 to Charles Leclerc. So that makes the job that much harder heading into tomorrow's Grand Prix. But we're always fighting an uphill battle. Charles Leclerc fighting in the front. We had to fight our way through. It could have been a lot worse, let's be honest, given where we qualified. The one lap pace wasn't amazing. We utilized our racecraft and battery management to get up there, but just fell short at the final hurdle. That's just the difference between these guys, their cars, and their facilities, and us. We are well and truly punching above our weight. And now technically, we are mathematically out of the championship. There's 75 points on offer for the rest of this season, but now we get into the asterisks of the red flag. We have 19 points extra. We should have been higher up in the standings, so now we have to rely on that to stay alive in the championship. But who knows, after this Grand Prix, it might be over anyway.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Benjamin, Russell, Norris, Perez, Verstappen, Ocon, Bottas, Gasly, Magnussen, Joe, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Sainz, Stroll, Tsunoda, De Vries, Sargent, Butler, Fernando Alonso, and Nico Hulkenberg rounds off the grid.
So then, no penalties for us, and unfortunately, no penalties for Charles Leclerc. So the equation is pretty simple today. Overtake everyone, win the race, hope that Leclerc gets no points, and we keep the fight running into Vegas and Abu Dhabi. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one today. No weather to really lean on to get a massive advantage on the AI. It is going to have to be on raw pace and merit today. So let's send it. We're going to explore every opportunity, I suppose. We'll have a look and see if a potential two-stop is quicker. I know we've had our moments this season where we've gone very bold, maybe too bold, and done two stops in 50% races. We since know that two stops don't really work in 50s. It's really only 100% that works in, unless you can get a VSC or a safety car. But trying to predict or guess when those are going to happen is near on impossible, especially against AI, which rarely crash anyway. So this is going to be tough. extremely tough, and we don't have our teammate Devin Butler to back us up. He's in P20 after his minor penalty for taking extra components this weekend. So, yeah, it's not ideal. We are fighting one-handed against both Ferraris, against the Mercedes. The Red Bulls also want to do well for themselves. They're still mathematically in the hopes for a title as well. So it's well and truly gloves off with 3 rounds to go. So we'll go full send. I won't have any regrets. The only regret I will have is if I don't go for it. So we'll see what comes at the end of this race. But it's time to get this one underway. 5 red lights, and we are go for the Brazilian Grand Prix. A bad start for Charles Leclerc. Perhaps the nerves already getting to him in this race, trying to close out his first ever Drivers' Championship up the inside of Lewis Hamilton into the center S. He left the door open, and we very well tried to go for that gap. We actually cut the circuit, but somehow didn't get a warning for track limits. Leclerc is now having to go at us into turn 4, and actually doesn't get the move done despite the major slide through the apex of the corner, and we take P2 in this race. We can't allow Hamilton to get away. 1.2 seconds away. We know what the AI are like when they're in clear air, and not in the DRS train. They absolutely fly. So imperative that we burn our battery and get Hamilton back within range, because otherwise he's going to be gone, and we're going to be a sitting duck compared to both the Ferraris and the Mercedes of Norris on medium. So we got to bolt and make the most of these soft compound tyres, because our pace will diminish in only a matter of laps. And looks like we're already failing that assignment. 1.1 seconds to Hamilton. We're pretty much out of battery now. And now Leclerc is unstoppable. Look at that. Leclerc takes P2. He's our main rival. But at this point in the race, we need to win. We need to win at just about any cost to keep his championship alive. And that means working with Leclerc, even though it's going to help him in this race, to drag us forward. But since overtaking us, he's absolutely bolting and doesn't even need to work with me. Russell gets us as well. Both Ferraris are very quick at this point in the season. I don't know if they've got a good bank of engines, a strong bank of engines to carry them forward with good pace, but certainly their base car is absolutely incredible. The upgrades that they've applied this season, they developed so well and been so consistent that we just don't have a match for them on this circuit. Maybe too much downforce for us, but yeah, it's become apparent where our weaknesses are, and I felt this quite a lot at Qatar. I felt like we were just slow at high-speed circuits, like not enough straight line speeds. I feel like the raw downforce that we generate is good, but straight line speeds, and it's become very apparent that our ERS needs to be more efficient than what it is. If we had a more efficient ERS that we could lean on a lot more lap by lap, you know, we could keep up the pace with the AI, but we just seem to be missing that final puzzle piece to really mix it with these guys. But thankfully, they're all kind of battling now. Hamilton is now backing up the Ferraris into us. Norris has overtaken us on the mediums as well. We're going to get off these tyres fairly soon. As you can see, Hamilton really struggling with his soft compound tyres. He gets squeezed out by Leclerc through the exit of turn 4. But wow, that's incredible ERS deployment from Hamilton there. An incredible exit, which sets him up well to keep the lead, but only temporarily, as Leclerc goes round the outside into turn 4 and now takes the lead of this Brazilian Grand Prix. I am now depressed, because our chances of winning this title are slipping through our fingertips. Lewis Hamilton boxes. There is nearly a second's gap between both the Ferraris, and if Leclerc gets free air, it is GG. So we've got to stay with Russell, hope that he doesn't lose too much time battling with us. He's got to stay in the slipstream, got to stay in the DRS of his teammate. In fact, Leclerc is boxing early for hard compound tyres, and we're going to respond on the next lap. Incredible that we managed to go so long on softs when those on mediums are already pulling the plug, but we're going on to mediums, and I would assume that the AI are going hards. So this is where our potential strategy advantage can come from. We're going to give up some track position. We may not have DRS on a few guys. Actually, we've lost DRS to Russell, but we are thankfully in the mix with Norris, who does jump us in the pit lane. So one potential L there, losing out to the Ferrari, but at least Norris is here to carry our pace forward if we still don't have the pace on the mediums. But let's be positive. Let's literally use Lando Norris as a leapfrog to get within 1 second of George Russell. It's a tough ask given that he's 3 seconds away, and this is the exact same scenario we had in the sprints with a Ferrari being 3 seconds up the road. But now we have a tyre advantage, and I imagine this tyre advantage will stay for the rest of the Grand Prix. There's my teammate, Devin Butler, with new engine components this weekend. Still DNFs. That just sums it up. That just sums it up for Marduk Motorsport. We're so close yet so far. Reliability biting my teammates' butt side, but at least it's not us, I suppose. As we go to the inside of Lando Norris just before the yellow flag gets deployed in our sector for us, and we're now inside the top 5 with all the work to do. Russell now 1.8 seconds up the road. We've got to close this gap pretty quickly because the tyres of Leclerc, of Hamilton, might be marginally better in the last 4 or 5 laps. As you can see, these guys going hammer and tong. Perez going up the inside of Russell. I think Russell went a bit wide, actually, and rejoined a little bit weirdly into the path of Russell. Might even have some damage on the front wing. We'll have to double check that when we go past. But, yeah, these guys are now holding us up and preventing us from catching up to the lead pack. But, yeah, we get Russell. That's now top 4. But it's not enough. It is not enough. We need a safety car. We need a DNF from Charles Leclerc. He's still P2 in this race. We need a safety car. We're running out of laps. We're running out of opportunities to stay alive in this championship. Alexander Albon is out of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and we're going to try and make this move very swiftly on Sergio Perez, just in case the safety car does come out. We're going to go full send into turn 1 if we can. He's going to go slightly defensive into this corner, so we have to go to the outside, turns to the inside for the next right-hander, and that is us on the podium in this Brazilian Grand Prix. Albeit temporarily, because I think he's going to get DRS and fly right past us. He does. No safety car. No saving grace for us in this race. And on the minimap, Charles Leclerc has just moved into the lead of this Brazilian Grand Prix. Very good. Very, very good. Very happy. We should have gone for the undercuts. It is becoming apparent that this race, this championship, is slipping away from us. We're just missing that extra little bit of pace, which would have made the difference all season. But given where we were at the start of the season, how far off we were, like this is our first season, starting off in a brand new team, to be fighting for the title with only 3 races to go is an incredible achievement. It must be said. Oh, that's Lando Norris spinning at turn 1 right into the path of Max Verstappen. That could cause a safety car if he stays stranded there for long enough. Trying to have a look at the front wing of Lando Norris. I think he's okay, actually, in terms of damage. But now that Leclerc has cleared Hamilton, fell out of DRS, Hamilton has just dropped like a stone in terms of pace. This has got to be more than tyre wear. This has got to be some kind of mechanical issue, which is slowing down Hamilton. I'm not too sure, but he's dropped off massively, and Leclerc is just stretching his legs. 3.4 seconds away. We got the inside of Hamilton, because we can't afford to be held up by him any longer. And now, with 1.5 laps remaining, we now need, and is that Glock moment, we need Leclerc to basically drop dead in this race, unfortunately, to stay alive in this championship. But this is the last lap of the Grand Prix, and potentially the last lap where the championship stays alive. This was always going to be a bit of a pipe dream, but reality is going to set in at the end of this lap. P2 in this Brazilian Grand Prix, best of the rest, is actually quite an incredible achievement, but there's no doubting who's been the champion this season. Charles Leclerc has been incredibly consistent, incredibly fast, great team around him, and has done all the things required to be champion in Season 1 of My Team Career Mode. Congratulations to Charles Leclerc. Unfortunately, our championship is over.
Okay, good job, mate. Really, really well done. That was a fantastic drive. Bring it home.
We tried.
There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion.
Fair play, Charles Leclerc. He is your champion in Season 1 of My Team Career Mode. The celebrations continue. He has done the impossible. He has won the Drivers' Championship with Ferrari and achieved his lifelong dream of winning with the Scuderia. That's absolutely unbelievable. I'm sure Jules Bianchi is looking down very, very proud today. But there we go. Charles Leclerc could not be stopped. And yeah, he's done the impossible. We gave it our best shot, but Ferrari were just on a different level today. This weekend, this whole season, we tried to take the fight. But yeah, that was all she wrote, unfortunately. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well. A win in the sprint, a win in the Grand Prix, fastest lap. It's just the perfect weekend, right when you needed it as well. And that closes out the championship. And thus, it is over. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I guess that, I suppose, explains the absence of career modes for a few weeks. I guess I just didn't want to admit to myself that the championship is over, and now it is. But with that out of the way, we can now focus on next year's car and go ham on that to really bring the fight to Ferrari, to those around us, to train up Devin Butler to make him a better driver for next season, or enter the driver market and find someone better to take this team to the next level. We're not too sure yet, but fourth in the constructors, I think we're pretty penciled in at that position, which will bring quite a lot of prize money and enable us to really get the cogs turning for next season, to up the development, to up the investment in the facilities, and really take this team to the next level. But immensely proud of what we've been able to achieve this season with this team, with what we started. To be able to take the fight to the likes of Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, right from word go, has been just unfathomable when I started playing F1 23. But there we go. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will close out the last two races in Vegas and in Abu Dhabi in good time, so don't worry about that. But yeah, full focus ahead on development for next year and putting everything in place to make sure that we have all the tools at our disposal to do the job from next season. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Asterixes out the window. Charles Leclerc is your champion.